You're watching Poindexter Lounge. You already know.
What's up, nerd family? Welcome once again to the Poindexter Lounge. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Fett, and it is good to have you with me in the lounge today. Now, look, if this is your first time to the lounge, just know that the Poindexter Lounge is a place for nerds. It's a place where you and me and my crew, meaning you, all of our nerd family, can get together and talk about all the things that we love. Things like TV shows, movies, games, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books, superheroes, toys, people who want to take over the entire universe and rule, and so much more. And if those are things that you enjoy, if those are things that get your blood going, if those are things that get you out in the morning and get you running away from all of the parademons of apocalypse chasing you down, then ladies and gentlemen, you have found the right place. And we would love for you to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell and become part of this growing community of nerds. Now, today is a very special day because today we welcome the one true Dark Lord of Apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We welcome a man who has become very well known to a lot of us over here just about the last year. And hopefully you got to know him more. Hopefully you've known him before. But for those of us in the DC community, maybe who haven't been so aware of some of his things, we're going to talk about some of those things today. And of course, we're going to nerd out a little too about, the fact that he's in this little film that's coming out here in a couple of months called Zack Snyder's Justice League. But ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome with me to the lounge, Mr. Ray Porter, Darkseid himself.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome, sir.
What an intro. Thanks, man.
You're welcome,
I was admiring all of the wonderfulness in the room behind you and feeling kind of lame because basically I've got this.
Oh, well, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I have my Lego Darkseid.
Hey,
although I've learned something very handy for holding USB cables. The Lego hands are genius for that. So that is an impressive room you've got there, man.
This is one room in my house.
Wow.
Before we get into this, I'll just kind of show you because
sweet.
Yes, people say that
my goodness.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Me too.
I'm a G.I. Joe fan. I'm just a fan of pop culture in general, man. And so
that is amazing.
Lots of cool stuff. And
oh my goodness, did you watch The Mandalorian?
Oh heck yeah, I watched The Mandalorian. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not going to go into anything. I'm not going to do anything spoilery. I'm just going to say there's one moment. We all know the one we're talking about towards the end of things. I cried. I completely wept.
I was very emotional. Unfortunately, my good friend, famously, and everybody who watches the channel, they knows one of our good friends spoiled the whole thing for me.
No.
Yes. One of our good friends from the Four Nerds. One of our good friends from the Four. He didn't mean to. In his defense, my good friend did not mean to do that, but he it was interesting. He had actually already spoiled earlier in the season during something else, and he actually called me that morning, Ray, to make sure that I did not go onto social media. He's like, dude, he's like, I want you to experience this so bad, Enosh. He's like, you're gonna love it. It's awesome. He's like, but make sure you don't go on social media. He's like, I really feel bad about the last thing that I accidentally, did. He's like, but don't do it. And so I was like, okay, awesome, man. And so later that day, I'm making lunch. I'm in my kitchen. I'm making a cup of coffee, and he's got a YouTube channel. I won't speak his name now because I think you've talked to him before on one of his on the channel that he's at, the group that he's a part of.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and all of a sudden my notifications go off. I wasn't on social media. Notifications went off for this guy's channel. And it's like, hey, this person's back. And I'm like, oh, what? And so I called him and I'm like, hey man, you know what happens when you're subscribed to somebody's channel and you got notifications turned on and they schedule a video for the next day? Silence. he goes, no,
You know,
no, that's not what that's about. I said, dude, no.
I always, I mean, I understand 9 times out of 10 when somebody is, when somebody drops a spoiler like that, it's certainly it's not malicious. They're excited and want to
Yes.
share, the thing. But oh, that's unfortunate. I gotta say that it was like, I'm not a big crier or anything. That moment happened. It was like I got slapped in the face by tears. It was just like,
I know.
it's just, I love that. I love that.
Speaking of
Sort
toys,
of a nerd myself.
I did have a cry though during the season, which that same guy and a lot of others are friends in the Four Nerds, where you have actually been on their show.
Mhm.
They keep playing this clip over and over again because my family and I, we do a watch party of the Mandalorian. We do a lot of watch parties with
Sure.
with people and stuff, and so during that same show, they blow up a certain ship.
Yes.
Yeah, right. The Razor Crest. We've talked about it a lot on the channel, so people know. But the thing is Hasbro did a almost like a GoFundMe kind of thing, like a Kickstarter thing to make the Razor Crest.
Oh.
And so my wife allowed me for Christmas. It doesn't even arrive until October next year. She allowed me to drop $350 on the Razor Crest. And the
Kudos to your wife.
And the next week they blew it up. Yeah.
Well,
and my friends don't let me forget it.
It's okay.
It's all right.
Doesn't matter.
It's okay.
You'll have it. It'll be intact.
They blew up the Death Star too.
Yes, they did.
But I still love the Death Star. So
sure, why not? What's not to love?
Sure.
It's roomy.
And hey, I got to see Slave One flying all over the place. So
oh my god, I know, so fun.
Yeah,
we're just geeking out about Star
I know
Wars.
we're totally just doing another thing here right now, guys.
Well, I mean, I've got enough gray in my beard that you can tell that I was a kid and I went and saw, the first one in 77, and just was like, what is, the world changed for me at that point. And so I've always been very enthusiastic about all, and there's all this discussion about, well, that's terrible. I don't like that one. This one I like. Blah, blah, blah. Why? It's all really cool,
Absolutely.
So that's where I am.
That's exactly where I'm at. I take a lot of flack because I'm actually a fan of The Last Jedi because I think I understand it. I get it.
There were things that I wanted more of, but that's okay. I mean, the old showbiz adage of always leave them wanting more. And I understand. The other thing is, even because I remember seeing Star Wars and then seeing Empire Strikes Back, and already the discussions were, because once you change the world, our perception, our concept, our ability to articulate points about things changes as well. And so, even then the discussions were starting about, is this, and there were factions, and all of that stuff. So then,
no, fans were divided even back then.
I know. Shocking. But yes.
Well, we have an old adage here around the channel, and this is it. Geek Studio hit it right on the head. We have a hashtag.
I love Star Wars. Yes.
I love Star Wars.
Oh my God.
Right before The Last Jedi, or the Rise of Skywalker came out, I started doing that. I started just doing all these little live videos where I would just go live in random places, and I would just say, you know what, guys, just remember what you love about Star Wars. Don't get all caught up in whether or not you wanted this person to do this or that person to do that or all these things. Because I remember a time, Ray, where we would go to the movies or we'd watch a TV show, and we just wanted to be told the story.
Yeah.
It seems like nowadays a lot of people, they want to dictate the story. They want to know the story almost before it's even told.
Oh, believe me, I've had numerous questions regarding the little project I'm involved with, and it's like, why would you want to know that before you see it? Do you know what?
Yeah.
What I guess I understand, but it's like,
yeah.
It'd be like having the waiter come out and tell you exactly what dinner's going to taste like, and how hot it'll be. And it's like, dude, just bring me the food. Let me experience it,
Heck yeah. Well, because
So,
that, because that's the thing is that I think we have a natural curiosity about things,
sure.
and like I'm not a big like anti-spoiler person. Like there's some things that like I don't mind, but there's some things, like for instance, that little moment that we just talked about there, on the Mandalorian, like I would have liked to have experienced that just raw and fresh, because I found myself I found myself falling into the exact same trap, because I found myself being a lot more analytical about the situation then, because I knew that it was coming.
Yes.
And so then I was focused more on, and I'll be honest, I was on live streams with different people and stuff and talking about it and everything. And I found myself going, yeah, but the CGI just wasn't that good.
See, this is what I'm talking about. There's a really, really, really fragile thing about storytelling. And as a storyteller, having been in plays and and all these other things, there's this keen oh my God. Do we have a special visit? It's Tiff.
Honestly, Tiffany, you don't even know.
In the pink suit.
I did not see you come up behind me.
Suit.
I did not see you come up behind me. You literally just scared me. Like I
saw
had
the door open behind you. I saw the door open behind you. How cool is that?
Look at that. She brought me something.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you, Ray?
Good to see you.
Got the pigtail.
Really stealthy.
To wear the pink onesie, so.
No, totally. Now, I am not agreeing to wear the pink onesie the next time we all do something together, just so you know.
Well,
I don't have one and won't.
He's in a drawing, but that's about as far as.
No. You guys can definitely carry off the pink onesie. Me, it would be time for the county to step in.
Well, this was the last time that I spoke with you, Ray, which was on with the ladies there.
We've got the Zapruder film to prove it.
Yes, we got this, and then we got this. So I came out in the onesie, and I don't know. I guess we could do like a who wore it better, Tiff.
Who wore it better?
Well, also there's a really fun game called Who's in the Background, because we've got R2 and Henry, and then in the other picture it was Darth Vader and R2, and now I think it's just Henry back there now.
Yes. I got some of the standees like out in the hallway now because they're taking up space. But there was an awesome rendering of you.
Yeah.
I loved this. I thought this was so amazing.
That was phenomenal.
And I was blown away by the art and the skill of it, and I love the look of it and everything. But I was also blown away by just how fast it happened.
Yes.
I mean, it was minutes after we had all talked that there it was. So yes, there I am in the pink onesie.
It's as close as we'll get you into a pink onesie, I guess.
As close as it's ever going to be.
But Ray,
so cool.
Yeah. But Ray, you may not have been in the pink.
Oh my God!
But I did find this. Doing some research, sir.
That was Monk.
Yes, this was Monk.
That was many, many, many hours of makeup. And it's funny. It happened during the writer's strike. I was called to the Paramount lot at 3:00 in the morning for makeup. We started filming at 9. We filmed all day, and I got out at 9:00 that night. And by then, the writer's strike had happened. So I arrived, and Paramount was a busy, bustling lot, like it normally is. When I left, it was a friggin' ghost town.
Oh my
There was a picket line out front. It was very funny. That suit. Oh, because those were arms, those hands and everything, those slipped over, those went up to my shoulder. This makeup artist who you see on the right side of this photograph is so damn good. And he made these arms with nails and moles and knuckle hair and the whole thing. And I just shoved my whole arm down in there. And then I had this, for want of a better term, a bib that basically hung off my face and then laid down across my chest and was laying over this massive, fat suit that was just basic padding. Mm-hmm. What it meant was that no air got out at all. And at lunchtime, they were like, "Hey, would you like to cool down a bit?" And I said, "Oh, yes, I would, please." And they had an assistant come over, and she unzipped it down the back. And apparently this just hurricane of superheated air just came shooting out of the, and she was
goodness.
like, "Oh God." So for the second, this is the real glamour of Hollywood. So after lunch, we were to continue filming. Now I'm sat in a wheelchair for this whole role, but they decided that maybe they would make some ice bags for me to help keep me cool, because I mean it was hot. So they did. They just took Ziploc bags and they filled it with ice from craft services, and they, put them under the fat suit and zipped me back up again. Well, the ice sort of melted, the bags kind of changed their form, and everything slid, shall we say, down. Gravity being not just a good idea, but also being the law. And so the entire very last scene I shot, how do I put this? Relatively sensitive bits were on ice.
So what you're saying is,
so if there's a special intensity,
you may have looked bigger.
If there's a special intensity to that last scene, that'd be why.
That's awesome.
Get Darkseid. I see Joey Moreno. Get Darkseid into a pink onesie,
yes.
dude.
Well,
As you saw, it happened in the world of art. It already happened. So,
well,
this is almost a pink onesie. What I've got going on here. These
that's what I said. It's
monk pajamas. Yeah,
that's about as close as we may
very
see
similar.
But
it's
yeah,
so funny.
Well,
I also have to say,
enjoy your interview, but it was good to see you, Ray. Just wanted to say hi.
Lovely to see you. I'll see you again.
Sounds good.
All right.
I also have to say, Tony Shalhoub, who played Monk, is one of the most legendarily nice and kind people in the business. He's truly one of the nicest actors I have ever worked with. He's a great, and my God, I'm in awe of his work. When I met him, I was just like, oh, because I'd seen him in everything. Junk on Ice. Exactly. That'll be my autobiography.
That sounds like a t-shirt you should sell.
Tony Shalhoub is an amazing, brilliant, genius talent, and is one of the kindest people you'd ever want to meet, without question.
That's cool.
He's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Well, it was a great show. Hey, real quick, shout out to DC Talk with Extended. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. You're awesome.
Cool.
Super awesome people here today. So, and I do want to say a shout out to everyone who is in the chat today. I'll always love you guys. We always have such great people here, Ray, who are just nerds, man. They just love. They have so much fun in our chats, and I'm always thankful for everybody.
Well, we talked a little bit about this before we got rolling today, but and I've talked about this in other interviews, but sorry, that's a helicopter quite low over my house because I'm in LA. Boy, that's low. The community that welcomed me in the way that they did, and they didn't have to, and I did see one or two things on Reddit of like, who that is this person? We need a real actor to play this role. It's fine. Boy. That hurts, but of course these people are entitled to their feelings. I expected more of that. The community, the fandom, welcomed me in really an overwhelming way. I mean, I will always be very, very grateful for that. Mm-hmm. And I'll never not be astonished at that kindness. So as a nerd myself, I'm very, very proud to be in a community of like-minded nerds. Nerds are cool.
Absolutely. And also thank you to all my moderators, everybody who's in here. Like I said, I'm blown away, Ray, but like you said, the people in this community and just,
truly.
And
I mean, let's review $500,000 raised for suicide prevention. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
In the midst of everything else going on in the world, overwhelming.
I'll tell you what, man, it's a blessing, and it's good to see people coming together like that and making a difference.
Absolutely.
Especially in a time like now, and I think that's really the heart and the spirit behind the Snyder Cut in general. It's not just about anybody who complains. Like, there's a lot of people who will complain and say, "Well, I don't like these characters. I don't like the way Zack Snyder. I don't know. I don't understand those people." To be quite honest with you, because that's just my
everybody has the right, just as I always say, just let people like what they like. If it isn't somebody's cup of tea, that's their thing. That's fine.
Yes. But there's there's people who have those opinions, and sure. I would say that's fine. We can always have that discussion, but that being said, the Snyder Cut is not just about these characters portrayed this way, being this way. It's about the people who've literally come behind this, who have, like you said, they've done something bigger than them. They've done something bigger than a movie. They supported Zack and Deborah and their family through a time of just awful tragedy, and helping them to heal and rise above it. One of my favorite things that I think I've ever heard Zack talk about is how, even if his movie didn't come out, even if nobody ever saw it, that the way that the fans have responded has meant more to them than anything. And,
and it's unique. I don't know of any other, I don't know of any. I'm sorry, I'm reading comments down at the bottom of the screen.
Sure.
I love it. It's super cool. Thank you. But it is really kind of unique. I don't know, and forgive my limited knowledge, but I don't know of many other films that have had an entire community spring up around it, and it all started with people feeling like, something was wrong, and they wanted to right that wrong. And then they weren't content with that and decided to right a bunch of other wrongs too. This sort of outpouring of care and of decency and of kindness. It's astonishing.
Now, Ray, you and I were talking a little bit before we went on live. So obviously you shared your love of Star Wars right off the bat, which
big time.
I got to say, I love. I mean, like I live in a museum, man. Like, seriously, this is this room. When the guys from the Four Nerds came here, they literally started pulling out their phones and were taking pictures like they were at Disneyland, right?
Oh, it's astonishing.
I'm sure you know who Wonder Meg is. Right.
Yes.
So Wonder Meg was here. Yes, she was here. She stood right over here. In fact, I think I got the picture.
You need a standee of her.
Well, because
Nerd Queens.
Right. Because what we did was I threw a party back in October because theaters started showing old films. And so I rented out a theater, we socially distanced, and we got people together and we watched The Empire Strikes Back. Yes, that's why the guys came. They flew out. We had some people fly from all over the country.
Where are you geographically?
We're in Michigan. We're
okay.
We're just outside of Flint, Michigan, actually. So,
okay, cool.
Yep. And so
I narrated a book at Brilliance Audio in Grand Haven in the middle of winter.
Oh yeah, that you get the lake effects.
Well, I mean, I grew up in Indiana, so I know from winter. Yes. I mean, although that's kind of minor league winter compared to Michigan, but I got up there and I went to the car rental place, and the very helpful lady was like, all we have available are these Mustang convertibles, because of course that's all that's available in a Michigan winter. So I drove a Mustang convertible through the middle of winter in Michigan.
Yes.
That was interesting.
Yes, I'm sure. I had a Lincoln Mark 7, which is built on that chassis. So
yes,
and I got it in the middle of winter, and I had it 2 days, and somebody slid into the back quarter panel. And, had to get that fixed. But so Meg came out. Actually, Meg and I figured out that we both lived in Michigan because she posted a picture at a comic book store that I visit.
Yeah.
And so we found that, and she also goes to this. Me and my family, since we collect, obviously we go to different places to sell old stuff and everything. So you'll see here she's holding a Gene Hackman Superman figure that apparently she had her eyes on at this particular place, and so did I. And so I got there, and the price was right, so I bought it. Well, she came here and she saw it. Well, she realized that I had bought it. So we keep joking that like it's going to disappear one day out of my house because she's coming back and we're going to do some stuff together.
You should make a plaque saying it's on loan from your estate, and it can be displayed in her home like an art museum.
That'd be awesome. That's a great idea.
Say, talking about like toy stores and comic stores, I was completely blown away like 2 weeks ago when I learned that there's this massively incredible toy store in my old hometown, Kokomo, Indiana.
Oh, yes. Yes, Kokomo. Yeah, Kokomo.
I grew up in Kokomo, and I'll tell you, I never had anything like that when I was there.
That's like a destination place, man.
I know. I was looking at Geek Street, come on. We never had anything like that when I was there.
I just missed out going there this year because I had to make a choice. And it's interesting that you bring it. So like, this is, I love organic conversations like this. because
You
but
mean
no,
scattered and completely
exactly,
unfocused. Yeah.
but we had everybody here this back in October. Like I said, we watched The Empire Strikes Back. It was awesome.
Which is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's been since the 90s since I had seen it in the theater, and I love the fact that you're a geek for that stuff, because that's like I was born in 76, but I literally remember going to see Star Wars in the theater over and over, because my family, I was born in Las Vegas, and so my family, we went every weekend, because every weekend my family would ask me, well, what
Remember
do you
being
want to do?
so small that like the movie seats that would fold up, they fold your legs up, and you would just sit there and watch. Yeah,
I have a vivid memory of going to see Superman the movie in 78. Because my mom, we got there and she was going to go get something to drink, and I thought she was going to grab a Coke, and she grabbed a Tab. And no, but who likes Tab anyways? I don't even know but she came back.
I'm drinking the stepson of it, but yes,
but she came back with that, and the taste was so awful, Ray. It sticks with me to this day. It haunts me.
I remember as a kid hoping that it would taste better than it did. It was just Tab. It was just like, here's a can of disappointment and sadness.
Yeah, man, for sure. And so, but it was interesting because I took my family, Tiffany and my 3 boys. I had never taken them to Vegas, and my family moved to Michigan when I was younger. My grandma raised me and my 2 sisters, that she raised the 3 of us. And so we used to make that trip out to Vegas all the time, because we had friends and family out there and stuff. And so we would drive, we'd make a road trip out there, make a road trip back, and do that whole thing. So I said to my family, I said, because my one son, he just turned 18 this year. My son from a previous marriage, who's my one, that's my blood. His middle name's Jor-El, by the way. Landon Jor-El. People call him Lando, so I got both.
Sure, of course.
Yeah,
you got both covered.
Exactly. So he had never been out there, and he's turning 16 actually this week on Tuesday, and then my youngest is 15, and so I said, let's fly out to Vegas. Let's go visit some of my friends and stuff. So we did that. We flew out to Vegas. We went horseback riding out in Pahrump and just did like a bunch of stuff. And then we rented a van and drove back.
Wow.
And so we did the road trip. We stopped at like the Meteor Crater in Arizona. Did all kinds of fun stuff. But here's one of the things that we did. We stopped. And this is why I didn't get to go to Kokomo's, because Kokomo's was on, because we're going up through Indiana. And I was like, we're going to stop at Kokomo's. But I did get to stop someplace cool anyways. Me and the family stopped in Metropolis, Illinois. Have you ever been in Metropolis, Illinois?
I've never been in Metropolis, Illinois.
Sir, you need to go to, especially being who you are now, you need to visit Metropolis, Illinois, because every year they have a Superman festival. The whole city is based around Superman.
This is like the town that is where James Kirk was born, and they have a thing every year. Apparently, or there's a big plaque or something. I think it's in Iowa.
Okay. Yeah. And so it's crazy because apparently DC didn't do anything about this for years.
Right.
And by the time that they actually looked into it, the copyright thing had passed, so they can't actually claim anything. So when you drive into it, it literally says Metropolis, home of Superman, and has a big picture of Superman. And like they've gotten away with it.
Excellent.
But they have a Superman museum there, which actually has props and all kinds of amazing things from all the old movies, every TV show, movie. There's stuff even from Batman v Superman, like Lex Luthor's jumpsuit from being in prison is in there. All of Christopher Reeve's hair pieces. They got boots from like Terrence Stamp and like all those guys and props and stuff. I mean, like I was geeking out in this place, man. They got everything from every TV show. So Lois and Clark.
Incredible.
They've got like the Supergirl stuff, Smallville, everything, man.
Okay, so this is I think something that is needed, either an app or a standalone book that is the Geek's Guide to America.
Yes.
So that there are like these nerd hotspots in kind of small towns and like driving journeys and that sort of thing. Let's say you're in New York State and you're planning on driving someday, when we can all do this, you're planning on driving across the country for San Diego Comic-Con. Here's all the places you could stop on the way, Metropolis, Geek Street, Kokomo, that kind of thing. I think it'd be a handy thing.
Heck yeah. So what we did was, though, is there at the museum, they have a walkway with all these bricks on it.
Whoa.
And you can buy a brick and people dedicate them to family members, or they
Oh, how lovely.
they actually, there's a few celebrities who have bricks and stuff that just are supporting the museum and everything. And so I saw this and I said to the family that day, I said, you know who needs a brick here? Zack Snyder.
Oh, absolutely.
Zack Snyder needs a brick here. And so we were there until about 3 p.m. It was going to take us 4 hours to drive to Kokomo. And I figured it's a Friday. Surely this toy place will be open late. They close at 5 p.m., dude. So we stayed.
Hey, they got to have their free time. Yeah.
I know. I guess so. And so like, I was so bummed because I was like, well, the trade-off is I got to stay in Metropolis for all day. It's the same thing, man. It's pretty much it. Every year they have a festival. They didn't have it this year or this past year, obviously, but it's like 100,000 people flood the place, and they have actors and everything from Superman. So you should definitely go sometime. But we raised the money.
Oh wow!
And we just purchased the brick. And I'll show you what it's gonna say. It's actually gonna have Zack's Superman emblem, so his version from Man of Steel and stuff.
Super cool.
Yep. And then it's gonna say this: if you seek his monument, look around you, from Batman v Superman. And then it says, to the family of Zack and Deborah Snyder, the
How lovely,
and your mini associate producers. So yeah, man.
How lovely.
But that's why I missed out on going to Kokomo.
It's a good reason to miss out on going to Kokomo. That's lovely.
I got to make another trip. What a
gesture. Yes, I really want to go now.
Yeah,
I haven't been back to my hometown since '84, so you know,
man. Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about we've been nerding out. I feel like we could do like a weekly show, you and me, like just talking about like nerd stuff.
Geeking out.
We're just geeking out. But so you've had an amazing career. Obviously, people are like all about you right now because they're geeked out, obviously, and rightfully so for Zack Snyder.
And I'm grateful for it. Yeah.
And it's brought you in it. But one of the things I was going to ask you, because we were talking about this nerddom and stuff. So you've been an actor, you've done Shakespeare, and I'd like to touch on that a little bit, but you've done Shakespeare. Like I'm looking at some of the things. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this man has played the devil, done voiceover as the devil, Paul the Apostle, King Saul,
those are King
David, Moses, Ahab, George Washington.
That's really
King
interesting.
Ferdinand,
Those animated things on my IMDb, it's really funny. That's a long story, but it started out with a good friend of mine who is a writer and a brilliant actor, and started working with this production company doing animated stories from the New Testament, American history, and the Book of Mormon, and all of this other stuff. I was a starving actor just out of college at that point, and started. He brought me in, thankfully, to do these jobs so that I could eat. And I did a bunch of them. And eventually ended up casting some of them when I went to work at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. And then one day I look at IMDb and it's like, boom, all of that. It's like, but that's not what okay. All right. Okay. I'll let that be there. Sure.
But you've done voiceover work. You've been in movies. We just showed you in when you were on Monk there, and you've been in other stuff. I mean, you've done plays.
From Comedy of Errors at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. I played both, and Comedy of Errors is two sets of twins, not knowing that the other exists, and whatever ensues. Antipholus and Dromio, and I played both Antipholus characters. Okay, so it was essentially aerobics for several hours, and and the wonderful actress that I'm with is Crystal Fox, who has gotten some real notoriety off of the work she's done the last few years. She's a wonderful actor, and I love her. And we had such a good time with that production. Yeah, so look up Crystal Fox. There's a look at that. That'd be Midsummer Night's Dream when we had a real Volkswagen bus, and that is Eileen DeSandre and J.P. Phillips, and I played Bottom in that production of Midsummer. So. Okay.
And then here's you looking pretty cool. And
that was on Southland, and my good friend Mike Cudlitz, who's right there next to me. I auditioned for it, and it was a tiny role, but it was great because it was the first season of Southland, and I felt like I was helping support Mike. And of course, Mike has gone on to do stuff that's pretty damned impressive. So yeah, that was loads of fun.
That's so. I mean, so
I
you
miss that T-shirt. I should find that T-shirt again. That's a great one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, but you've done these different things, and so
Mhm.
now, you know, I found this picture of you.
Somebody made that. I thought that was pretty impressive. So
You just look like a rock star, man.
You've got me as Bottom from Midsummer Night's Dream, and then you've got, Zack, and then of course the role I'm playing.
Right.
And there, it was really cool. Yeah.
You
I
guys
gotta
look
say,
like a
the
power
art
trio.
that people have done just blows me away.
Yeah, you guys look like a power trio, man.
It's true. It's like it's some weird band
right?
hitting
Like,
the road together. Yes.
yeah, Zach's showing his he's got the shirt and tie on and everything, but he's got his tattoos showing, and then
Yes.
Darkseid's
And also
back.
a little bit of the gun show happening there. Zach's got some serious
Exactly.
muscles going there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so my question though is, that being said, you come into this fandom, and we talked a little bit about this fandom, welcoming you in and everything. Did you come in with a knowledge of because obviously we talked about the Star Wars thing. You like Star Wars. You're a nerd of some kind.
Yeah,
but did you come in? Did you come in with a knowledge of DC characters or what this was, or are you learning?
No, I mean I can tell you when I was little, my favorite superhero was Batman, without question. I still love Batman.
Sure.
I've even got my old Corgi Batmobile, and everything still works.
Oh, nice.
Oh yes.
Yes.
I always loved Batman. But I was never really versed in comic books. Now, I had several friends like in college who had, vast comic book collections and were incredibly knowledgeable, not only about the storylines, but condition and all of that stuff. Those people, collectors, right, who understand this. I mean, it's a huge amount of knowledge to accumulate a lifetime. So when you start delving into these storylines, because I was like, well, I'm playing Darkseid, I should probably know, the backstory. It's huge. It's an encyclopedia. I mean, honestly, the nearest analogy that I can make is that it is Shakespearean. You're talking about all these twists and turns and these weird, relationships, and this happened and this, and just to keep track of it is epic and huge. And we're talking about one character. And so then you've got this other character with an equally rich and diverse and vast history. And so when I encounter people who are really aware of comic books, I bow to their knowledge. I recognize that, these are people who have invested a large amount of time in accumulating this vast knowledge of this stuff. And it was never a real strong part of my life. I always had respect for it and I always appreciated it.
Yeah.
But, geeking out with Darkseid.
Yeah. That's Tiff.
Hey, Tiff. But, I mean, like Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher is one of those people that has this encyclopedic knowledge of these characters and of this history. I've always respected the people who've understood that. Me, I'm just trying to remember my damn phone number. I mean, maybe I think I may lack the brain power for that kind of stuff. But, when you start talking to these people and they're like, oh, yes, that was such and such issue number, blah, blah, blah in 19, blah, 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 and, this character did this. And you're like, it's almost too much. Now, on the other hand, as an actor, separate from that, as an actor, I'm about to play this role. I can't go in carrying the weight of, all of this history and all of this story. Because then I felt like it would kind of be like this weird museum piece in a weird way.
Sure.
And what's more interesting is watching people in the moment, in the scene, and that will hopefully contribute to and become a part of the saga and feed into it. And so in playing that character, it was very much about what is in the now, what is happening right now. So the scenes, that it was, what were the needs of the scene right then and there?
Sure.
Do you know?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Ray, because like we talked to Ray just a few weeks ago, and he opened up my eyes to some things about Cyborg, for example, that I had never even thought of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Cyborg growing up, I was first introduced to Cyborg actually at the same time I was introduced to Darkseid, through the old Superpowers Saturday morning cartoon show where the Super Friends morphed into the galactic, superheroes and stuff. And that was when they brought in Darkseid and they brought in the character of Cyborg. And I had never thought of Cyborg as being this like it was always kind of portrayed as kind of like a sidekick character. Right. And that's kind of how I saw him.
Right.
Like Ray starts talking about him. He's like, no, man, he's tapped into the entire world. He's tapped into everything. He is seeing everything. He's hearing everything. He could blow up the entire thing in a second because he's got the power to do it. He could launch all the missiles. He could do all the things. And you're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
No.
And that's the thing. Some of these characters sometimes on the surface, they can look very to people like, okay, well, that's a bad guy. Right. Like he's, what's his motivation? He just wants to take over the world. Well, why? And I think sometimes you get into it. Like you said, it's very much deeper.
It's always deeper than that. I mean, I've said this before, but the thing about like playing a bad guy, I'm not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I have what I want to, this is what I need to get done. This is what needs to happen.
Yes.
You may have a problem with that. Poor you. I'm not bad.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting about it. I mean, in the case of Ray Fisher, another Shakespearean actor, by the way, we were both at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. I got to say that production, that film was so fortunate to get Ray, who is one of the smartest people I know, one of the best actors I know, and one of the best guys. I'm just taking a second to like stan Ray Fisher, but I think that guy is incredible. He's a genius in a lot of different ways. He's got a massive heart and he's a brilliant damned actor. He really is. I have mad respect for him.
That's really, man, I'm really glad to hear somebody say, because Ray has he's been at the center of a lot of.
He's been fighting some battles. And his decency and let's be honest, his restraint with a lot of it, I think is commendable.
Wow.
And he has never, ever swayed from what he feels is right. And he's committed to it. I mean, mad respect for him. As I said before, as an actor and as a man, huge respect for Ray.
Man, I love that. Thank you, Ray. Because look, we as a channel, we have supported Ray Fisher from the very beginning. I mean, shout out to the two guys. Like I just put up there because we like to acknowledge people when they support the channel and stuff. But this Vojtek, I'm hoping I got that right.
I think it's probably Wojtek.
Wojtek. Yeah, became a member. Became a member
right.
here, and DC Talk, good friend of ours with Extended, doing that. And one of the things that they get, like when they become a member, is they can use emojis during stuff like this, like live streams and stuff. And this is one of our emojis right here.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
As we stand with Ray. And there's a lot of people that I feel personally, they don't understand why Ray is doing the things.
That particular issue, and I'm not going to speak on it because I wasn't there. I'm not involved, and anything I would have to say would be superfluous.
Yes.
I know him as a person, and I know him as an actor.
Yeah.
And in both arenas, he's got my unending respect and approval. So
that's awesome. And that brings up a great point, though. Ray, another good question is obviously your role in this movie is different than a lot of the other people's role in this movie. A lot of these people, they work together. We saw whatever that was that came before.
Yes.
Right. We saw this thing that
I didn't. I never saw it.
Okay.
I mean, come on, look at what happened. Like I'm going to go.
No, I understand.
You know what I mean? It's like
No, I totally understand.
I didn't really have a strong desire to go see it.
I totally understand. Here's Bobby.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Henry as well.
Oh, absolutely. I am such a fan of Henry. I almost got to meet Henry, almost got to have dinner with Henry because when they were here in Detroit filming Batman v Superman, my friend was his workout buddy. And came up to me after church one day and showed me a picture of him and Henry working out together, like posing for a picture. And I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, wow, dude, that's awesome. And he's like, yeah, he's like, and somehow they had this connection. They were talking and everything. And he says, yeah, Henry's going to possibly come over for dinner one night before they head off and go to Chicago for the next part. And I'm like, really? And then he looks at me like I wasn't getting it. And I'm like, well, okay. And he's like, well, Enosh, you realize you're the biggest Superman fan that I know. If that happens, you're coming over, you and Tiff. And I just looked at him. I'm like, wow,
how cool.
Unfortunately, they got finished with filming early and moved on to Chicago. So
it happens.
So one day I'll meet Henry. One day. I've met other Supermen. So I look forward to meeting him for sure.
There you go.
But that being said, like, so your role in this movie is different than what we've seen out of the other people, you know? Now you did both motion capture and voice, correct?
I did.
Okay.
And I know that the motion capture is a mixture of myself and another brilliant stunt actor. And I don't know, who's who at this point. And obviously I haven't seen anything more than anything, than anybody else has seen.
Okay.
I mean, I know one or two things, but that Zack has shared with me, but that's private.
That's secret.
It's secret. As it should be.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, you know what? Yes, we were robbed of Darkseid and Desaad and the true and real Steppenwolf. Yes, but Fatima, bless you. I just think the world of her.
And she awesome.
She's amazing. Yes, you were robbed, but I am here to bring it back.
I love it.
They're coming back.
It. But that's things, yes. I mean, for those of us who saw this, what was originally, told to us was this was Justice League, right? This is what we had, and many of us, we're DC fans. We went and saw it. We were like, okay, yeah, it's one of those things you can live with. It's like, I still fondly watch Superman 4 sometimes. It's hard to watch, sometimes, but you watch it because you're a DC fan, right? As soon as we found out, though, that there could be something more, that there was something more, I think that changed how we looked at this other thing, and I think we all started asking these questions about how could something like this happen, where you take out Darkseid, you take out Desaad, you take out
that I mean, and I gotta say, sitting on the outside of all of that, because I was told that after Mr. Whedon took over the film that I was no longer in it, and that made me sad. But then to kind of watch it all from afar, when the very initial rumblings started about, we did not get what we should have gotten, among the fans saying we didn't get what we should have. There was more, and then the rumors started about Darkseid being in the film. I actually wrote to Warner Brothers and to DC, and I said, "Hey, can I come out and say that I did in fact play?" It's so stupid. How stupid was I? But I wrote to them and I was like, "Hey, can I come out and say that I played Darkseid? I mean, now that the movie's over." And they were like, "No." Like, okay, so I stayed quiet, and I had signed an NDA, so I wasn't going to violate that.
Sure.
And then the speculation started. That was amazing. I remember reading on a website, they were like, "So we hear Darkseid was in the. Who do you think would have been Dark?" And people are like, "James Earl Jones," and and all. And I'm just kind of sitting there like,
it was me. I'm just imagining you, because you seem like just in talking with you the couple times I've talked to you, you just seem like this really cool person. You're laid back and stuff. I could see you kind of being like me, just like wanting to say, but it was me.
It was funny. It was, I mean, I didn't feel like I had any right to speak up, but I'm sitting there like, oh, okay. And then I remember seeing one of the early things with Kevin Smith, and I remember vividly his whole thing where he was like, and there was Darkseid. And I'm such a massive fan of Kevin Smith and have so much respect for him. And to see that, I was like, oh yeah, that was me. But I resigned myself to, this is what it's going to be. I had resigned myself to, it's going to be this way. And then somebody leaked and still don't really know who, but somebody leaked that I did in fact play Darkseid in the Snyder Cut. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you. Really cool of you to say. And I tell the story about, I went to bed with like 300 Twitter followers because of audiobooks. Mm-hmm. And I woke up, and I don't know why I checked Twitter, because I don't normally first thing in the morning, and all of a sudden it was like there was 2,500 followers and all of these messages. We heard you play Darkseid in the movie, and I panicked. I freaked out. And I immediately contacted Warner Brothers, and I immediately contacted DC, and I said, I didn't say anything. I never said a word. Please don't, please, Warner cops, don't come and get me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And they were like, no, it's okay. We know it wasn't you. That's all right. And I was like, oh, thank God. And it's actually Jeff Johns contacted me. He was like, no, it's cool. We know it wasn't you. I was like, okay, cool. And that was that. But then people started asking a lot of questions, and I couldn't really answer them, and I really kind of wanted to. And everybody was so nice, and I think I was a little bit naughty. I started kind of slipping in Easter eggs here and there, little things, and kind of teasing that, but I still was like, no, I can't say anything until I'm given permission. And I finally decided that when Zack says that I can say this, then I will. Otherwise, no. So when Zack announced that it was going to happen in 2021, I texted him immediately after. I was like, congratulations, I'm thrilled for you. Can I finally come out of the closet? Yeah. So that was when I went on Twitter and went, I'm Ray. I played Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I was able to finally be like, yes, I did this. And that was great. But again, that's all down to the fans. That's all because of the fandom.
And that's awesome. And, and that's what we've been talking about that a lot, actually. And actually, I did a video, man. I was up, and it was literally 4 a.m. here. And I do a lot of late night streams, especially for the East Coast. But
I narrate audiobooks really late at night because LA's a loud city. So I understand. Yeah.
And so I started seeing like all this stuff about just, this isn't happening, that's not happening. We've gotten all this, back and forth lately about, especially, like we were just talking about Ray Fisher, this person's out, that person's out, and just all this negativity. And I'll be honest with you, it just kind of ticked me off. And actually Ray said on here a few weeks ago, he made an interesting comment. He said, what the fans want to be canon will be canon.
Precisely.
And that has stuck with me. And so like, I came on and I made a video about it, and I just said, it's time that us as fans, like we all came together, Ray, for this thing, right? Like you just mentioned, the fans really pushed this thing, led this charge, and it's happened. It's important now that we don't lose sight of that, and that we don't lose sight of and get like caught up in little squabbles and, and like this and that, but that we stay focused. And I made this video saying, now's the time that we have to start thinking about like, what would we want to see past the Snyder Cut? Are we just going to have this 4-hour thing and just go, okay, you guys reboot it, do whatever you want to do? Or are we going to make our voice known that we don't want it to be a dead end, that we don't want it to be?
I think the fans have been shown in the most eloquent of ways that, motivated by kindness, they can achieve pretty big things.
Yes.
So if y'all want something, I think y'all can make it happen.
Yeah.
Do I hope to see that solo Batfleck project? Of course. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Why would I not want that? I think that's great.
So going back, because this is kind of where I was going with this. So you obviously had a different job than everybody else kind of in the movie, right? So
yes.
Speaking
I was
of
in
that,
a really attractive Lycra suit.
So I mean, and you can stop me if this gives anything away,
Sure.
because I don't want to overstep that bounds or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, did you have interaction with anybody, you know, as far as in the cast? You know, I mean, did you work with, I mean, you know, because obviously this is like about, this question here is about, you know, Ben Affleck, you know, and I mean, you were in Argo, you
yes,
know.
and I had interaction with him, you know, in that way, and I had met Henry, and I met Gal, and
yeah, even if it wasn't on screen, you know, I mean, like,
yeah, no, for sure. And then obviously Kieran and I worked pretty closely together. But a lot of my stuff is sort of outside, you know, looking.
Yeah.
So, it's tough. I don't, because
yeah,
even I realize right now that just what I just said, there's somebody right now furiously typing going, reporter confirms that he was, and it's like, stop it.
no.
I don't know. And this is the really hard thing for people to understand, is that I did this role, I did this character, I had interactions with various people. Some of that may be in the film, some of that might not.
Yeah.
There was, you know, I did this thing, I said this thing, I said, you know, some of that might be in there, some of it might not. I did a specific thing with my voice, and that's going to get processed, and that might be, you know, I don't know. My hands are off it. The minute I finished, when I wrapped shooting, it was in the hands of editors and CGI people, and I'm just getting a bottle of water.
That's fine.
Here, just hand it through the curtains here. There we go.
Oh, there we are.
There it is.
There you are.
Oh, Rockstar. Thank you. I just wanted a little bottle of water, but he filled up my big
nice
JL sticker. Got my full guitar pedal sticker going.
Nice.
Yes. Hold on. Bit of water.
No, that's fine. While you're doing that, I'll address this, and I don't know if you want to say anything about this, but
I know that Jeff Johns and John Berg,
I think you already addressed that kind of
the unnecessary Justice League reshoots. You know what? Again, above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that stuff. I would be remiss in speaking about it. Anything I have to say would be pure speculation.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's helpful. I think it's best left to the people who were directly involved with all of that. If they choose to speak on that, they will. It's none of my business.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I do appreciate you, John, supporting the channel. But yeah, I
mean, it's, you know what? It's a valid question, and it's totally cool. I don't mind being asked the question at all. But honestly, it, again, above my pay grade. I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
And I wish I could like give a great answer to everybody, but there's just some things I don't know. You know?
Yeah. So
I'm too busy destroying universes, man.
that being said, so obviously, because you talk about, like, you know, things get cut from movies all the time, things get cut from films, you know, and that's a natural part of making really anything like that. I mean, you know, there's parts that get cut, there's things that get restructured, things like that.
Oh yeah.
Knowing what you did shoot.
Yes.
When you walked away from that.
Yes.
Did you feel a sense of satisfaction?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great fun. And you know, it's Zack, who I think is a brilliant storyteller. I've always loved his stuff.
Were you privy to any of the designs before that, or did you just kind of like the rest of us, kind of like wake up one day and all of a sudden we're seeing this?
I knew what stuff looked like. Yeah.
Yeah. What goes through Ray Porter's mind when you've been doing this stuff, you're aware of what some of these things are, and then you see something like this and you're recognizing.
Honestly, my first thought, Jesus, I got to go to the gym.
I love it.
I mean, there's stretching reality, and then there's, you know, I mean, my God. I mean, other than like some serious skincare concerns.
Sure. Yes.
He's yoked. I got to do some serious work. I mean, honestly, I look at that and I'm like, I really should go and work out because Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, look, I just all of us, the first time that we saw this, I mean, I was amazed that like the first little teaser trailer that got dropped, we got to see this, right? I mean, it's literally starts off.
I know. I was like, whoa. And I had seen it before. I was sent, anyway. So I had seen that.
Yeah.
And I was super excited, but to see it all in context, and especially with that piece of music and everything that it meant, all the layers, that first trailer when it came out, all of the layers, the love note to the fans, the, showing what could have been, I mean, it was a really profound thing. I do love the Upside Down Omega. Like, I kind of wonder, like, the hell happened to him? Right.
Right.
Really, seriously, was this, is this like a hockey incident? What occurred?
It's like an episode of Robot Chicken, right? Where it like shows Euxtes before he became the bad guy, and like something like horribly tragic happened to him, and he was just like,
and that's why he turned out the way that he did. He was at a bowling party and something happened and he got hit in the chest and everything changed from that point onward.
From that moment on, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, that, I talk about that trailer and what it meant for all of us. And for me, one of the greatest joys was going on YouTube then and watching fans' reactions to seeing some of these things for the first time, and the surprise. It was so, I had such joy watching people watch the trailer and reacting to it, because, that's what you live for. I mean, in my line of work, to be able to surprise and to delight people and to, but also, I mean, remember the early teaser thing with Jesse's voice and Gal looking at that thing on the,
yeah.
And there was more terror and I said, I mean, not dissing Mr. Whedon or anybody else, but honestly, there was more in 35 seconds than a lot of films I've seen. We'll say that.
Yeah. Well, I was blown away, man. But I was so shocked that Zack gave us this so early in that teaser, and it was just bam, here it is.
Right off the bat. Here you go. Yeah. And then just showing everybody what is there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's layers of meaning behind that trailer and messages, I think, for everyone. Good messages, but messages, I think, for everyone. And it was just great to, like I said, it was just great to, like, go on Twitter and dance around the fire with everybody in celebration and watch the videos of people reacting to it on YouTube. It was, I have this weird dual sort of existence where I'm an actor and I'm in the movie and everything, but I feel very much a part of the community, and I feel very supportive of the community. And so I take great delight as a fan and take great delight as an actor and, as a cast member of the film. So yeah, it's a strange duality, but it's sort of fun.
Well, you see in that, I mean, I know I speak for a lot of people when we said, like, who the heck takes that out of the movie? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, such a good thing, but it is what it is.
I don't presume to know.
Yeah. But I am so glad, Ray, that you are having this opportunity, because I mean, you've done so many things. I mean, like you talked about, like, you've done Shakespeare. We talked about, some of the voiceover stuff that you've done. Let me ask you a couple of questions about that, because how did you get into acting? I mean, like, there's a lot of people who are just now being introduced to you, but I mean, we showed that, the picture of
I've
you
been around.
You were in Almost Famous, you were in Argo, you were in The Runaways. I mean, you've been around. And look, there's like Anthony here. Anthony would love to see you in things going forward.
I would love to be, but as I said before, I have so much respect for Ava that she should do whatever she, as an artist and as a director, chooses to do. Would I be privileged and honored to be a part of her project? Of course I would. Will I be pissed off if I'm not? No. She's a marvelous director, and her vision should be served.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to be in it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and I know we'd love to, I know we'd love to see you moving forward, doing stuff like that. But you've done all these things. Like, how did you get into acting? Like, what was that passion, that thing that really spurred you to do that?
It was always kind of I grew up in kind of the family business. My grandfather was in show business. My mother was as well. And so it was always kind of there. And I wasn't certain that I wanted to do that. I thought maybe I'd rather be a journalist or, a photographer or something like that. And I was in high school and I went and saw, my class was trundled to some theater to see a production of something.
Mhm.
And something happened in that particular production to me. And I walked out and was like, I want to do this. So I went to college. I went to Cal Arts. And then was sort of dumped out into the world of LA, and like, how do I make a way? And at some point auditioned for and was given an offer of a 6-month contract at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. That was in 1990. And I told everybody in LA I'd be back in 6 months. And my last season at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival was 2008. Because
Wow.
I got to be in this beautiful place, small town in Southern Oregon, beautiful place. And do Shakespeare all the time. I mean, my God, it was great. And to do plays, in addition, I mean, they did a lot of Shakespeare, but they also did a lot of like American classics and newer plays and that sort of thing. It was a repertory theater. So it meant I'd be playing one role in the afternoon, a matinee in one show. And then that night I would be a different role, like that picture of the Antipholus that you put up, so let's say in the afternoon I was that, and then at night I'm playing Kent in King Lear, and the next playing Edward in Henry VI. And it was great and it was marvelous. I learned so much from so many actors there. And then voiceover had always kind of been a thing. Like I'd always had ambitions of working in radio, even back in Kokomo, Indiana, when I was the midnight to 6 DJ at WWKI.
Nice.
100.5 FM country.
Still got that voice, man.
Still got that voice, but I'm 16 and trying to sound like that. Little different. But just pushing my voice down to try to get that broadcast quality.
Before you leave, we got that soundbite from Ray. We're gonna have to.
I know, man. I want to do one too. I saw that. I was like, hey,
heck yeah.
But so that was always kind of a thing. And just doing voiceovers and that sort of thing. And then I came down to LA because at the time I decided it was better to be, a husband than a phone bill. And my then wife was in LA working. And so I was like, well, I should go to LA. So I left the Shakespeare Festival. All of existence shall be, well, okay, but I don't know where I'm going to put it.
You can hide it in that fat suit.
I could put it in the fat suit or, but you don't have any room at your house. So,
I know I'm running out of room. It's a problem
there.
It is a problem. I'm running out of
problem.
room.
Where do you get a storage space for all of existence?
Okay.
So anyway, and I started working in Hollywood and doing, and when I was working at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, I would come down in the off season and do TV shows. My very first TV show was an episode of Murphy Brown.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Going way back.
I remember Murphy Brown. Yeah.
And I was on Frasier. Interestingly, and this caught up with me the other day. I was on Frasier, and it was the episode where Frasier and his brother found out that a Shakespeare actor they admired was in a sci-fi show and was signing autographs at a Comic-Con.
Wow. There's some
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I was playing somebody waiting in line, at the autograph thing, and Frasier and I have this thing, but Ashland, Oregon, damn straight. Yeah.
Nice.
Scotty.
Cylon is a
huge
supporter of the channel, good friend of ours, and
it's a beautiful town. And my hope is that they recover from the fires. Talent in Phoenix this last year. There's a lot of people still hurting from that, and I hope things get better. So I was, God, where was I? Cylon Scotty.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
No, it was fine. It was great.
You're talking about Murphy Brown.
Murphy Brown, and then I did the Frasier where, and I got to hang out with Sir Derek Jacobi all week because that was the Shakespeare actor in question, which was amazing. And then Sons of Anarchy and lots, TV and that sort of thing. I did Almost Famous, which was such a blast. I was 4 months on that film in total.
Wow.
just, hanging out, playing guitar and laughing. And sometimes they'd put a camera on us and we would hang out and play guitar and laugh. It was great. A lot of my stuff was cut from that film eventually, but it's what happens. Then I did Argo, which was great. I mean, I don't know why I keep getting cast as 70s people and drug dealers. I have no idea why.
No.
I was going to cut all this off at some point, but I had an agent who was like, don't do that. So I haven't.
Well, my ex-wife made sure when we were dating that I cut mine off because, you're talking about being, like playing guitar and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I'm a musician. That's
okay.
That's what I do. So I play in a band still called Waking Vegas, and
cool.
I've got to tour and I got to, got to do stuff. But I grew my hair out because my hair looks a lot like yours, curly and and just long and can't do anything with it. And my ex-wife, she had never seen me with short hair. Ironically, I had short hair my whole entire life until I grew it out because I was going to be in a serious rock band. So when I was 16, I started playing guitar when I was 15, started growing my hair out. 21 years old, it's long and everything. And she tells me, you got to trim it so it'll be healthy.
Yes.
Don't fall for that crap. No, you got to trim it. You do. But you know what? Don't let your girlfriend who's got eyes for seeing you with short hair tell you that, because she's like, my neighbor has a salon, but she says she'd trim it for you for free if you go over there. And I went over there and there's no mirrors, Ray. And she starts trimming. She's talking to me. She's talking to me about my band and everything else, and clip. And she's clipping stuff up here and putting pins in it over here. And I think she's, just making it healthy.
Oh no.
All of a sudden she's like, okay, you're all done. I'm like, okay. And she hands me a mirror, and I swear to God, Ray, she gave me a Billy Ray Cyrus mullet, like the 90s Billy Ray Cyrus mullet.
Oh God.
Yes. And
so at that point, you just cut everything off.
Yeah, I just looked at I if it was me today, because I have a sense of humor, I'd keep it for a couple of weeks, then cut it off, because you're never going to get another chance to look like that.
Well, you shouldn't anyway. Yeah, you shouldn't want to
anyway. But I would want to show my friends just as a gag, and then say just chop it off. And she looked at me, and I just said, as nice as I could, dude. I was like, you got to cut this off. Yeah. And I flirted with growing out during COVID and having to stay inside and everything. I grew it out pretty nice and stuff. But yeah, man, I always admire somebody who's got the long curly hair, man, because people don't know the struggle.
Yeah. Or the product.
Yes.
Involved.
Yes. Back then I didn't know much about products. See, nobody told me about that.
It's a vital lesson to learn.
Yes, sir.
Men, pay attention. Hair product, skin product.
Absolutely. So you play?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Mostly acoustic, a lot of Mississippi Delta slide. I like resonator guitars quite a lot, and I play a lot of that stuff. Fair amount of Celtic music, some electric, some dabbling in electric, but I've always been more Richard Thompson kind of, finger style, that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So Darkseid plays.
Darkseid plays guitar.
That's
Darkseid will play you some really nasty Mississippi Delta slide blues.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there, man.
Yeah,
oh yeah. I'm just imagining. I'm getting the visual, So how weird is it?
In 5 minutes there's going to be art online of Darkseid with a resonator guitar singing "Come On in My Kitchen." I give it, let's be generous, 15 minutes, and there'll be a beautiful art piece on Twitter immediately.
That's funny. Well, so how are you dealing with that? Because playing all these different roles,
yes,
right? And being an actor and having really been a part of just regular movies and Shakespeare, very serious things. And now you are literally playing. I mean, what to at least DC fans is, you got a couple of villains out there. You got Darth Vader, right, who will always be this. He's the Dark Lord of the Sith. But when it comes to DC fans, it doesn't get much bigger than Darkseid. Darkseid is the Dark Lord. I mean, he doesn't just have the dark side. He's literally freaking named Darkseid, right?
It's on his business card. Yes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, so that I always laugh when people are like, yeah, but Thanos, who? Because Darkseid take one look at Thanos, and
I created some ripples in I think it was one of the very first interviews I ever gave. Somebody said, "Who would win, Darkseid or Thanos, and I said Darkseid because he doesn't need a special glove, and that went around the world. And I went, I need to shut up. I need to just not talk.
But that's such a great soundbite, and it's so true. But now you're Darkseid.
Yeah.
Man.
So now I'm playing this massive thing that has years and years and years of investiture and people in comic books and animated things. I mean, Michael Ironsides, holy God.
Yeah.
Andre Brett. Whoa, the actors who have given voice to this character before are people I admire hugely. And it's a big role. Honestly, I compare it to Shakespeare. I mean, I've played roles with 500 years worth of mileage on it. I've played roles where people are coming in and they're like, no. The last one I saw is the best. There's no way you're going to be good. And I could conduct myself under that yoke, or I could just try to tell the story as best I can using my tools to the best of my ability. And if someone likes it, great. And if it's not their thing, that's a shame, but okay.
Yeah.
You try not to think about the immensity of either the role or people's consideration of it. For me, it's just exciting because I remember when it was announced that I was going to be playing the role, I was like, oh my God, I get to go to Comic Cons and meet people and sign things. I'm so excited. I hope there's a toy, literally those were my first two thoughts.
Well, there is.
I know, McFarlane. What?
Dude,
I can't wait to see it.
Dude,
what?
I'm
so stoked.
This
is it going to be Uxas? Do we know? I don't know.
I have no idea. Hold on, let me pull this up. So I don't know. This list just showed up this week, dude, and I
saw it.
I got like every McFarlane toy ever, and I'm just like, and like I got
Oh,
tons of DC stuff. You guys all see the Star Wars stuff, but like at my office at work, that's where like a ton of my DC stuff is, and then this back corner is all DC stuff.
When I was at Cal Arts, my next door neighbor in the dorms, his father is Patrick Stewart.
Oh my
God. Patrick at that point had just kind of started as Picard. And I went into my friend's dorm room one day and there was an action figure of his dad taped to the fridge.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I remember thinking, just how cool is that? And then thinking, I hope someday I do something that gets an action figure. And so when this was announced last week, I did a little dance.
Oh my gosh, man.
I have to ask.
Not just any action figure, a 10-inch action figure.
I know, a mega fig. I'm a mega fig.
Oh.
Now I've got to ask because I can't read all this. SRP 2100, promo price $18.90. That's not $1,890, is it?
No, I have no idea what idea what all that stuff. This doesn't even see, this is how little we know about this, because this doesn't have order numbers, like, so it doesn't have like numbers. You can't even go to the store right now and
I know, and they're doing a cyborg. I'm so stoked about that.
I started calling up all the stores that I get stuff from, and I'm like, can you order this? Can you order this? And they're like, we don't even know it's out, yet. So
I know when I saw it, I was freaking out, and just there may have been a high pitched shriek.
Well, I am so happy for you, man, because
thank you. I'm really stoked about it
because that's got to be exciting, man.
It's completely exciting. It's yeah, it really it is. It's hard to explain, and I'm happy to play my part in all of it. I really am. It's an honor.
I love hearing you say that you were excited because you were going to get to go to Comic Cons and meet fans and stuff.
Yes.
It tells me a lot about who you are.
No.
And how you appreciate like where you're at, because we're all just people,
Yeah.
And it's really cool, I think, when you meet somebody, because I've met plenty of people at Comic Cons. Like I said, I've gotten to meet Brandon Routh. Because being a big Superman fan, I've met Brandon Routh, Dean Cain.
Sure.
I met Tom Welling. I met Margot Kidder. Before he passed away, man. And I was like a 12-year-old kid.
Wow.
It was the first time I'd ever been to a Comic-Con too. And I didn't know she was going to be there at our Motor City Comic-Con. And it's the first time I'd ever been there. And I'm walking around. All of a sudden I see this little Superman emblem up and I see the words Margot Kidder. And I left everybody I was with and I ran to this booth. And dude, she was getting ready to go on a break. And so she was standing there and Tiffany finally caught up with me. and we talked to her for about 15 minutes because there was nobody else there, and she just shared stories of being on the set from Superman, and about Christopher Reeve. I mean, it seemed like an eternity passed, but yet it was like over too soon altogether. She gave me a big hug, and we took a picture together. And it was funny because I even got an autograph. We took a picture together, me and Tiffany and her, and I got our picture of her and Chris, flying. It's a flying scene together.
Fantastic.
And she was supposed to sign to Enosh and Tiffany. Love Margot. She just signed it to Enosh. Love Margot Kidder. And then she was gone. And then Tiffany looked at it. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Tiff. She was supposed to sign to." She goes, "No, honey. This was yours. This was all for you," because she's like, "I just watched you become a 12-year-old boy and watched you literally just your heart melt over like this little old lady in her 60s, like because you."
I mean, I just got to take a sidebar for a second and just as a guy remark on just how much Tiffany rocks.
Oh, thank you.
What a wonderful thing to say. What a wonderful reaction off of that. I mean, yeah, massive respect for Tiffany. That's super cool.
She's, you know what? She's fantastic.
You kind of want somebody, you kind of want people around you that will acknowledge the 8-year-old that lives in all of us and never make you feel ashamed of it,
Exactly.
And that's wonderful, dude. Again, this is a look you need to really cultivate.
As we say around here, exactly.
Well, I just remember feeling, I was taught early on by my grandfather and my mother as far as interacting with people, let's say after a show or something like that. And, and I worked construction. Nobody ever came up and clapped for me or said, "Boy, I'll tell you, I love the way you put that roof on," And so the fact that I do something as silly as basically pretend wearing clothes that aren't mine and saying somebody else's words and it affects someone sufficiently that they would come take a moment out of their day to come over and say, "Hey, I really like what you did with this," or whatever. That's a huge responsibility. It's so important to me that if somebody is going to take the time to do that I make sure they get as much out of that experience as possible. Yeah. It's important because people remember that stuff. I can remember going up to people I admired, and there was one or two that were not super pleasant, and you remember that and it sticks with you. And that's what a horrible thing to do to someone, I try to remind
myself that like, you never know where you meet somebody, like what's going on in their life and stuff. You try to get, because Tiffany and I met somebody at a Comic-Con once. There was like somebody from my childhood and Tiffany's childhood, and everybody knows who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we waited a half an hour for this person to come back from their lunch. Like, we were the only ones there when it started off. There was not a line. We waited a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. They came back and they literally didn't even hardly acknowledge us. And not that we have to have some, celebrity, gush over us or anything, but it was like, whoa. Oh, okay. Like, just totally rushed us through. Nobody waiting, nothing, and it was just like, but just wanted to get rid of
those things where you don't know maybe what's going on with that person, and they obviously had no idea what was going on with you. And so moments like that can pass, and it's a loss because you remember it that way.
That's what Tiffany was just telling me this last week. She was like, she's like, I almost wish that we hadn't met that person, because as much as I am trying to be understanding, and I know that it's not just that they're a bad person and whatnot, and you try to look at it that way. Yeah, it messes with you.
I had a thing happen. One of my jobs during the summer when I was studying acting at Cal Arts was I was living in San Diego, and I was a ride operator at SeaWorld. And I also sometimes worked the gate, taking tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a well-known personage came through my gate, and I was obviously very excited to see him, but I also, had to do my job, and there's things you're supposed to say. There's that sort of boilerplate SeaWorld, greet visitors like this, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I did that, and he was, I gotta say, a bit of a dick. Years later, I did a short film, and it played, and I went outside, and that very same actor came over to me and said, "Hey man, you were really great," whatever. And I shook his hand, was like, "Thank you so much. That's really kind of you to say." And he walked away. I was like,
yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But that doesn't happen all the time. It costs very little to just be basically decent and nice. Yes, there are going to be some fans or people who've watched you do who feel they have some ownership over you, which they simply don't. You just set healthy boundaries.
Exactly.
And yeah, I've had a couple of kind of unpleasant experiences with fans. It's certainly nothing connected with JL, but a couple of kind of unpleasant things. And so you learn, but I did a play with an actor who's pretty well known, and I watched his interaction with people, and I really took a page from his book.
Yes,
I watched how he interacted with folks, and it's nothing to just be kind.
That's so awesome to hear from you, because I had a similar experience. Like growing up, I got to play with one of my musical heroes that inspired me growing up, as a rock and roll kid.
Who was that?
It's a guy named John Schlitt. I actually,
okay.
So it's kind of just to boil it down to a nutshell, he was in a band called Head East in the 70s.
Yeah.
So he was the lead singer of Head East, and
oh my God.
Yeah, so he had a bunch of things back then. Obviously, it was at the top of that game, and then he ended up becoming a Christian. He ended up fronting a Christian band called Petra for years.
Wait a minute, he was in Petra?
He's been the lead singer since 1986.
What?
Yeah, dude.
I know Petra.
Well, Petra was what got me into music. And
amazing.
And dude, here's the thing. My grandma, who is a woman of faith, I'll never forget. I was 16 years old. I was jamming my guitar, trying to learn a Petra song. And she comes into my bedroom. She goes, "Hey, who are you listening to?" And "Who's that singer?" And I said, "Well, that's John Schlitt." And I swear to you, Ray, she looked at me and she said, "Enosh, God's telling me you're going to play with that man one day." And I'm 16. I sucked. I was horrible. I was like, "Okay, Grandma, thanks. I appreciate it. Appreciate." And Grandma went on,
"Oh man,
I will have you know something, sir. My grandmother was on the front row of the very first concert that I played guitar for John Schlitt, as I did a whole summer of concerts with him across the Midwest."
Fantastic.
And I'll tell you what, it was fantastic. But see, that's the thing, is like, I remember driving 300 miles to go see Petra. I remember me and all my buddies, man, like piling in a car and going somewhere when we were teenagers.
Oh my goodness.
And the thing is, like, every time that I'd get a chance to talk to him or, see him or whatever, he always greeted me with a smile. He looked me right in the eyes, and it showed me something. And I've had other experiences like that with other artists and musicians and stuff that have inspired me and stuff. And there's always going to be those people who are, they seem disconnected or whatever, but always remember those who don't, because those are people who can inspire you to be better yourself. Well, and that's how I always, because I'd be in my little local band, and we'd play some regional thing or whatever, and we would have people come up to us, and it made me always remember, okay, Enosh, don't be just so quick to just try to move on. Look people in the eye, pay attention, because to them, this is as important to them as it was to you with them.
Very simply, these people paid. I mean, in the case of like a fan interaction thing, or even when I was, doing theater, these people traveled, which costs money. They paid money for tickets to be there.
Yes.
They sat, they did all of that stuff. If they're going to actually wait for you after to tell you something, you owe them a great deal. You owe them a great deal. They don't owe you a damn thing. You've been paid. Do you know?
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that. Also, I mean, I remember when I played Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream, and I can't tell you how many times that summer little kids had come up to me and be like, "I just played Puck." and like defiant. Like I just played back. It's like, cool. Hey, what did you do with this one? And I actually stole from kids. There was like, what did you do with this one moment? And this one little girl was like, oh, I said this and this and this. I was like, that's genius. Can I do that on stage? She was like, yeah. It's like, great. So I did.
Yeah.
It's having done construction, having done all these other things. Sorry, I get text messages sometimes, but having done construction, having done a lot of other jobs like that, having spent a lot of time in this business, and doing different things with it. If you get to a place where somebody feels like they want to take some of their time and some of their energy and give it to you and tell you you did something good or something that mattered or whatever, I'm sorry, that's a responsibility of your job. Just like anything else, like learning lines, like being on time and being decent, that's your job. And you devote the time if you can.
Yeah.
You set healthy boundaries, It's like, no, I'm not going to tell you what Darkseid sounds like. No.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say.
Oh my God. Look at that.
Punisher 96. We appreciate the question. Look,
I'm sorry. That was just terrible timing. Punisher 96.
He had no idea though.
I'm
honestly.
so sorry. I said that and then your comment popped up.
Well,
Honestly.
it's funny because that comment's been here and he can't.
God,
he can't
that's
see
unfortunate.
It, but no, it's true. But it does. Okay, so I will say this. And I didn't mean that as like a, hey, look at there. But this actually goes, so this is maybe can go to a question that you can answer. Okay.
Yeah.
So Punisher, thank you for the $2 super chat and supporting that. But obviously we can't, show you what Darkseid's voice is.
You'll hear Darkseid's voice in 2021.
There you go. But Anthony here did bring up another question.
Very interesting.
Maybe we can help kind of maybe get us a better understanding of what Darkseid's voice is. Because he says, Ray, do you think your experience voicing religious characters and figures helped you maybe to find the voice of Darkseid? Was religion an aspect that you wanted to show?
Okay. Yeah, I should address that because it is on my IMDb. And so there's like, all of these stuff and people would go, well, this is someone who's a liturgical actor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to know that at the time I was starving, as were many of my friends who were actors.
Mm-hmm.
These people with their production company gave us the ability to have lunch, frankly. And they weren't interested in what our faith was, and we were not necessarily interested in what their faith was. We were playing the roles, so I'm not, I know it would be easy to go like, oh, this is what this guy believes and whatever. I'm real quiet about like what I believe. I have a massive amount of respect for a lot of different faiths and I also have a massive amount of respect for the people who have the absence of faith. So, no, I would say that, my experience voicing religious characters or figures, it didn't help me find the voice of Darkseid. I mean, as an actor, a lot of different experience, both voicing religious and non-religious characters helped me find that voice. Was religion an aspect I wanted to show? No. And that's definitely not, who I am. I'm not, I would be remiss in coming out. And I mean, I think people look at like my IMDb and go, oh, well, this guy's a Christian actor. And it's like, no. And if you ask some of my friends, they would laugh so much they'd need oxygen. But I have a great respect for people of faith as long as they conduct themselves with respect. I have great respect for people of a lot of different faiths. And as I said, I've got a great respect for people of no faith.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the line is, are you decent to each other?
Absolutely.
And that's it. That's my bar. It's like, are you kind? Great. You believe whatever the hell you want to believe.
Yeah.
I'll be over here believing what I want to believe, and let's have a nice time. You
And
know?
I totally appreciate that. So something that you may not know, because I don't here on the channel, this is our place for nerds, right? This is
Sure.
our place. But a lot of people already know this about me on the channel. And
Mm.
that is like, so I'm a pastor. I'm a worship pastor.
Fantastic. Well, I kind of, you know what? The Petra gig was sort of a tell, my friend.
Exactly.
Yes.
But that,
Yeah.
but that's who I am. Like, and so
Yeah.
that's a part of my life. But what I am excited most about, Ray, is the fact that I have friends from many different religions, many different backgrounds, many different orientations and different things, and I'm able to be friends with everybody.
Well,
Like, and that's how I think it should be, because we talk about that a lot here at the Poindexter Lounge, is that's how you should be. You should be able to respect each other, and just because you don't think like I think doesn't mean that I need to beat you over the head with anything necessarily. It just means let's have a conversation. It's just, to me, it's the same. It's very similar to where somebody goes, well, hey, I like a Superman who is bright and cheerful and always is, gets things right. And I say, you know what? That's a really good point. And I really like that Superman too. I also like the Superman that Zack Snyder showed, where it's a Superman that's going through things, is having to find his way, and maybe doesn't always get it right, but he'll get there. You know what I mean? And it's like two different points of view. And I always say, it's a biblical term, but iron sharpens iron. We make each other better.
This is the deal. There's a lot of money to be made in division.
Yes.
I think, Rupert Murdoch is a shining example of just how much money there is to be made in division. In othering other people. This is what sets me apart. I like this. You don't like this. And there's a lot to be made from that. My personal deal is I really don't care who I'm interested actually to know who you pray to. Up to a point, I'm interested in knowing who you voted for, but I don't want to talk about those things if they're going to get in the way of knowing who you are or sharing in an experience.
Yes.
Who you vote for is your damn business. Who you pray to is ultimately your damn business. It's not mine. And some people like pineapple on pizza. I don't. I'm opening up that can of worms again.
Uh-oh. Well,
some people like
Ray, don't make me, Ray. Well,
click. Yeah.
I had to do it. You are the biggest person, the biggest like well-known person that I've ever done that. I do that to my friends here on the channel every once in a while. I'm just like, no, sorry.
Hang up.
Had to do it. That means I did that to Darkseid. Oh, that's a flex right there. No.
Yes. Just wait until I come hang you up.
Oh no.
Anyway, and that's not the voice for those of you blogging at home. But that's the thing, is like some people love avocado. You can have all of the avocado. I don't like it. Some people like raspberries. More for you,
Yeah.
Some people pray this way. Good. Are you being decent or are you a dick?
Exactly.
And that's it. Some people voted one way. Great. Are you being decent or are you being a dick? That's all. If you like Superman this way and I like Superman this way, we're going to fight about this? Are you kidding me? Ray is a pineapple pizza enemy. Bring the pit. Oh God, no.
Well, you know what? I find this really great, Ray, that you bring this up, because and this is a different place to go for an interview like this, but it's interesting because so you're playing this character Darkseid, and I love how like earlier you said like I'm playing a bad guy, I'm not a bad guy.
Right.
I think it's a great lesson to us all when we can literally have the guy who is playing one of the baddest, meanest, scariest, don't want to mess with kind of characters is sharing with us right there a life lesson that honestly we all really need to get back to as the human race.
Boy, it'd sure be a lot happier if people would just remember manners.
Oh my God.
Honestly, just manners. Just be decent. Come on. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road. That's the whole thing. I will tell you this. insofar as my IMDb is concerned, the massive amount of animated things that I did, and I don't know why they still put them up there, but because it's been a minute. I mean, we're talking early 90s, late 80s
Yeah.
that those things were recorded, but they're there, and that's fine. But at the time that I was recording those, I certainly would not call myself a practicing Christian. At the time I was recording those, far from it. And yet, I devoted myself to the script and did it, and did all of that stuff. That is not an indication of who I am any more than, the fact that I played Darkseid is an indication of who I am.
Right. Are you now like, apocalyptic?
I am an apocalyptic. Yes, I am. Yes, absolutely. I don't even use a credit card anymore. I'm at the 7-Eleven. They're like, scan your card. Just Omega beams out of existence. Thank you. I'll take this. This is mine. Thanks very much.
I think people do.
I sense a disturbance in the force. I sense the approach of a Tiffany.
Oh yes, because I told her to bring something because yesterday, man,
is that forever people? That's not like early. Is that? Dude,
so this is something I picked up yesterday because I knew that I was going to be talking. I love this this cover.
That drawing. That's amazing.
Isn't that awesome?
I love that. Oh, deadly Darkseid. Oh, super cool.
Yes, sir.
Just in the fist, holding him up by his cape. God.
I tell you what my wish is. I know that, like we're not going to know. And who knows? I mean, I want to see as much of you in this film as humanly possible. But I mean, like, I also know that, obviously this was structured, differently than, I mean, we're getting a 4-hour thing. So, I'm hoping for as much of you as I possibly can see. But I tell you what, man, one of my dreams would be to see live action Superman throw down with Darkseid.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it happens, if it doesn't happen, if we'll ever see it.
You know what? If this, I would say this to everybody, if this particular release leaves you wanting more, you know what to do.
Yep.
And I don't know all of the things that we're going to see of my character in this film. I trust Zack in his storytelling that you won't be disappointed.
And that's the thing, man, because I tell you what, one of the things that I love about Darkseid is that Superman makes comment, and I don't know if you may or may not be familiar with this, but in the it might have been the end of the Superman animated series. It was either the end of the Superman animated series or in Justice League. I always forget which one. But Superman is fighting Darkseid. And he makes a comment to Darkseid that with everyone else, I have to hold back. But not you. Because I know that you can take it.
Wow.
And that is, I'll never forget the first time I saw that, and I just went, dang, what a testament to who Darkseid is. I mean, that's like, to me, it's not even a controversial statement for you to say that like Darkseid's better than Thanos. I mean, first of all, Thanos was a cheap knockoff. I'll say it. Thanos was a cheap knockoff.
You go ahead. I'm just going to be over here being quiet.
Is a purple knockoff of the gray dude in the blue outfit. That's all I got to say. Okay. I'm like I said, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Thanos is fine on his own, but this guy is literally a god among gods, and but that shows the testament of his power. And I can't wait to see what you do with that, Ray. I can't wait to see, like, even if we just get a little taste, even if it's just a little part in the movie, or or just a couple of lines or whatever. I feel like just the fact that this will exist within this world that Zack has created, and we'll know that it's there.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know like really details of anything.
Yeah.
but I'm fully aware. Darkseid is the best, though. I'm fully aware of being the first live action Darkseid. Yes. Hopefully not the last. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. And again, it's because you all got noisy.
Yep.
In a good way.
Absolutely.
So gratitude.
I think that is one of the good kind of bring it back full circle. We talked about Star Wars at the beginning of this discussion.
Yes.
And and we talked about some of those divisions and everything. I think what's different about this fandom and what we're seeing here is like this fandom. Yeah, there's always going to be things that you don't like or that you do like or whatever. But instead of being based around negativity, this whole thing has been based around positivity. It's been based around about wanting to see, like you said, an injustice done right, for lack of a better term, no pun intended, with justice and everything. But what I'm really excited about is just to see that the fans did come together for something positive to change something.
Well, and the other thing too is
I
do think it's very important to note this, that the overwhelming vibe has been one of positivity and kindness. Yeah, there's ripples here and there, and there's little, arguments and disputes and all of that stuff. But the overarching sort of energy about it has been positivity. Had it not been as positive, had it not been as kind, I really, really doubt the fandom would have achieved the things they had. So my hope is that will continue and grow.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, because there's a lot of, with this, like the Star Wars community that I'm a huge part of as well. There's a lot that I think Star Wars fans can sometimes learn from this, and like how you deal with something that you didn't like, and how you maybe approach
it. Is it a wretched hive of scum and villainy?
Well, to quote the movie, and it's, I love you, man, because I just happen to have this,
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
I always have that like right ready to go, but
amazing.
Man, I that's the thing is we always talk about here on the channel, is that respect everyone's opinion. Don't let anybody tell you that your fandom or your opinion or the thing that you like doesn't matter. And don't try to do that to somebody else either.
Just don't be rude. Just be kind. You know what I mean? If you don't like something that somebody else likes, then cool.
Yeah, man.
That's why there's variety at salad bars.
There you go.
That's why there isn't just one thing, it's just appreciate it. That's totally cool. Plus you might learn something in some cases. I mean, somebody doesn't like black suit Superman. Okay, cool.
I bought HBO Max just for Darkseid, and I'm going to buy the McFarlane DC Universe.
Right on. Do you know what? I bought HBO Max just for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I did.
Yeah. And you know what? I will say this. I did too. And then I was pleasantly surprised that there's a lot of really good content on HBO Max.
I got to tell you, there's a show that I absolutely fell in love with. It comes from the BBC, and it's called Ghosts.
Okay.
It's a comedy. So worth a watch.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm kind of addicted to British TV anyway, but this show in particular, and it's on HBO Max, is great. So
that's awesome.
Worth a watch.
So as a final question, because I could just, you're just such a great guy, man. I just feel like I could just talk to you all day long and just kind of like, somebody was.
Well, we're Midwest boys, we can ramble a bit.
Absolutely, man. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming to the Poindexter Lounge. I appreciate you being here, and you're always welcome here, man. Anytime you got something that you want to promote or want to talk about. But
thank you.
You now I've played this part. This is your next thing, right? What do you have anything else coming up, or do you have anything else that maybe you would, maybe it's a two-part question. Do you have anything else coming up? And then what is that thing that like that Ray Porter, after everything you've done, Shakespeare, Darkseid, all this stuff, what would Ray Porter want to do if you? I mean, I know everybody kind of asks you, would you come back for Justice League 2 if you could?
Gee, if I could fit it in, yes, of course I would.
Would you be in a Superman movie if you could?
Yeah,
right?
Yes to that too.
But seriously, if you could dictate, like if there was that role that is just you'd be itching for, but also anything that you have coming up, man.
Oh, well, I'll tell you. I mean, okay, so yeah, two separate things. As far as what I have coming up, thank you, COVID. There's not been a lot going on.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have a home studio, as you can see, and so I've been recording a ton of audiobooks. I'm on Audible. If you just do a search for my name on there, there's a bunch of books on there, and a project that I'm particularly proud of, I recorded last year in London with multiple cast members, and it's the Neil Gaiman Sandman on Audible.
Yes, I meant to ask you about that. We got to talk about Star Wars. Yeah, so yeah.
Oh my God, what an adventure that was. So fun. I called my mother. I was like, I just played Beelzebub. Do you ever play anyone nice? But something I would want to be or be in, I would kill to be in the Star Wars universe. Even a tiny thing. Seriously. Just to have said that I was in there. Do you know, I've a friend, an actor that I worked with who was on The Mandalorian, and the jealousy in that universe. I would love that. I would love that. So, Mr. Favreau, are you listening?
Mr. Favreau,
please.
This guy right here.
I'm nice. What? I'm mostly well behaved.
Kathleen Kennedy, we love you here and we support you. So hire this man. Put this man to work on Star Wars somewhere.
For just the price of a cup of coffee every day, you could have this young actor.
You too can support a Ray Porter.
I mean, when I did that weird sort of additional material for Lost, which is it's on the DVD. It's a segment called New Man in Charge. I think there's a video of it on YouTube or something. But I remember finishing it, and this, and a crew member came over and he goes, okay, there you are. You're in the Lost universe now. And it was like, wow, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, obviously there's tons of stories of people, showing up and like being a stormtrooper or whatever. And you never know who they are, just so that they can have been involved or have participated in it. I'd like that quite a lot, please.
Oh man, well, I tell you, Ray, I would love to see you in Star Wars. I mean,
I'd love to be involved in something like in that universe. Also, the Star Trek universe. I had a friend who was fortunate enough to be on Next Generation, and she did a little bit of a dance when she was on the transporter. Because how could you not?
Yeah.
And the crew was like, we were waiting. Okay, you got that out of the way. Great. Because apparently actors would do that all the time. How could you not? It's unbelievably cool. So.
I haven't ever acted on that level, but I'll be honest with you, like I can understand what you mean though, because like going back to like when I played with John Schlitt, I had a moment. We were playing in Illinois. And it was like 10,000 people at this festival.
Yeah.
And I'm playing a song that I've listened to 1,000,000 times over and over and over again. And I put the band together. I was asked to put the band together. So it was my friends who are up there. And I got these people standing in front of me wanting me to throw them a guitar pick. And I'm standing there kind of doing my thing. And I just had this moment and I realized I'm part of this now.
See, this is the most important thing about anything, no matter what you're doing at any level. It's the noticing of it and the enjoying of it.
Yes.
I remember working at SeaWorld on those summer nights when I was in college, and every night they had fireworks. And I would look up at the fireworks and wonder if I was ever going to be an actor, And then cut to a few years later, I'm stepping out of my trailer on Almost Famous. We're shooting at the San Diego Arena, the concert footage. and I'm walking across the parking lot going to set, and I see these flashes and I start hearing the noise and I turn around and it's those same SeaWorld fireworks.
Mm.
You know, and being able to notice that moment and be like, yeah, I guess I am an actor.
Mm.
You know, taking those moments and appreciating them, no matter what you do.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't have to be something like that. It can be anything, but just the noticing is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Taking notice of what's around us at all.
Yeah.
And I will say as we close up here, Harrison, he obviously can't answer this question. I do want to acknowledge you and thank you for your support. But he cannot give his perspective on how Darkseid will destroy the JL team. I'd probably just say
he will bore them to death with his 3-hour-long seminar on knitting.
Here's an actual recreation from the movie right there.
Hey, Superman, thanks for hanging with me.
You didn't even know that Superman gets the red trunks back in this movie. Zack Snyder restoring everything back. You heard it here first.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
No, Harrison, I can't explain that. I think that it's going to be an amazing experience when it comes out, and I look forward to watching it with y'all and experiencing it and then talking about it after.
Yeah, you know, hey guys, I appreciate the questions. You know, some of this though, like he is not going to be able to talk about different people who are in the movie. We definitely appreciate your questions for sure, and so I don't want to just
don't know anything about that. Can't say anything about that.
So
Cool Deep, I appreciate you asking, but sorry.
Yeah.
What else we got?
So that's it for now. Those were just the last two that came in. I do always want to make sure that people know that we appreciate everything that you guys submit and say. Just, you know, hey, there's some questions, guys, that we're all going to have to get the answers to together when we watch.
Yeah, let's go. Let's wait until the movie comes out. Or the 4-part mega thing.
Not that there are any bad questions, because it's this. Look, those questions are all in our minds as well. Look, you know, I'm just as big as fan as anybody. I look, Superman's the only thing tattooed on my body, and I named my son, you know, Jor-El, his middle name Jor-El. So like, yeah, I'm a big geek and a nerd. That's why I do this. But here's the funny thing. I want to know what his voice sounds like too. I want to know what we know what Darkseid looks like, but like, what is that final, you know, when it's all done? We all want to see those things. What
does he look like when he's all grown up? Because we only know from Uxas right now.
Yeah. Oh, see, and that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna have to find out.
Here's the important thing to remember: we get to find out.
Yeah,
that's the thing to remember right now. It's just simply, we get to find out.
Hand sanitizer, wear masks, social distancing, be safe. Then we will all get to find out. I don't want anybody not there because of this damned pandemic. Stay healthy. Please stay safe.
Yes.
Then we'll all find out together.
Yes. And I do echo this, and you have an absolute invitation after the film comes out. I'd love to have you back. I'd love to have you back and then maybe discuss some of these things that we couldn't discuss here and talk about those things and how you felt when you were doing this or that or interacting here.
Yeah, we can actually talk in depth
and then just put it all out there. But I do also echo this final thing. Thanks for your time, Ray, and also Ray Porter, you are awesome.
Thank you.
So you guys go make sure that you show this guy some love, some support, you know, wherever he is and whatever he's doing.
Thank
you. We definitely and you're gonna probably think this is funny. So here's one of my favorite supporters, just because.
What is up with that name?
Every time he gives a super chat, he knows that I have to say the name. So it's hilarious, dude. Tom Hanks Ballsack 69. He says, hashtag get Ray Porter in Star Wars.
Okay.
I love you,
man.
Well,
I appreciate the sentiment. Oh, dear God, dude.
Yes.
Wow.
That's how you end the
Oh, with a bang. Yes.
With a bang, quite literally. quite literally. Yeah, he's awesome. Well, guys, like I always say, again, treat everybody with respect. I think that's been the overall theme of this. This man right here. I'm so glad that Ray has been brought into this family of DC fans, and I'm so glad that we've welcomed him in. And
it's a privilege. Thank you.
And glad to have you guys. And I'm glad that you guys welcome me into your homes every week, or wherever you're at watching the Poindexter Lounge. And like I always say, treat everybody with respect. Your fandom, don't let anybody tell you that your fandom doesn't matter, and don't tell anybody else that their fandom doesn't matter either, because it takes all of us. We can all learn from each other.
Absolutely. And just keep pineapples off pizza.
And yes,
kidding. Joke.
All hail Darkseid.
Yeah, again, another screen name that I can't unsee.
I know they're legitimate people. They're not. They're literally not.
I respect their path.
I know that. Like, what are you gonna do? And yes, hashtag restore the Snyder'S.
Restore the Snyder'S. Put it up there.
Very, very well and articulately and with respect. Let's make our voice heard again as one. Hashtag us united, as saying and stating the fact we want to see more of this. And I definitely want to see if there's more stories to be told with Darkseid. DC, I'm down. I want it. And so
I might be able to clear my schedule for that. Yeah.
I think we can get him back, ladies and gentlemen. I think so. So, hey, until next time, remember to stay nerdy, stay good to each other, and don't tick off the Dark Lord, because
be nice.
And the one last thing I do need you to do, because we're recording, can you just give me a, you're watching Poindexter Lounge or whatever you want to do there, whatever you want.
What was it Ray said? You're watching Poindexter Lounge. You know what happens?
No, it's his statement. You already know. So here's
you already know.
Yeah, so I'll show you what he says. He says that
you're watching Poindexter Lounge. You already know.
That's his.
I don't know if I can do justice to that.
That's his his thing. You already know.
Okay.
All right.
You're watching Poindexter Lounge for the unity.
Ooh, I like that. Coming soon, ladies and gentlemen, to an episode of the Poindexter Lounge. Thank you so much, Ray.
Sure.
All right, man. We'll see you guys. Like, this thing will work. We'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Yes, exactly. Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye-bye.